Baba Vanga saw fire from the sky. What's coming in October 2025 will shock you. The deserts were dry, the sky painted in strange colors. Somewhere in the stillness of the earth, a warning has already been whispered, but few were listening. In ancient texts and the quiet voices of mystics, there is a truth. Before the greatest awakenings come the most unsettling signs. Baba Vanga, the blind prophet of Bulgaria, once saw a fire raining from the heavens. Her words were unsettling. In the month of shifting light, fire will descend, and the world will hold its breath. For decades, people have tried to understand what she saw. Was it the beginning of war, a cosmic disturbance, or a karmic reckoning for humanity? Now, as October 2025 draws near, her prophecy feels more urgent than ever. What did she truly witness in her visions? And more importantly, are we ready to face it? This is the journey of wisdom, where we explore mysteries not to provoke fear, but to seek understanding. If you're someone who senses that ancient truths still echo through our modern world, we invite you to like, share, and subscribe. Let's walk this path together before the sky speaks again. Number 1. Who is Baba Vanga? Baba Vanga, often called the Balkan Nostradamus, was born in 1911 in what is now North Macedonia, and her life took a dramatic turn when a violent storm left her blind as a child. But out of that darkness emerged a mysterious gift, an ability to see beyond the physical world. Her predictions, delivered in simple, haunting language, began drawing people from all walks of life: political leaders, scientists, and ordinary citizens, all searching for answers to their personal and collective futures. She became a quiet but powerful figure in Eastern Europe, her humble home becoming a crossroads of hope and fear. Over the decades, her visions reportedly anticipated events like the tragic sinking of the Soviet submarine K-219, the devastating September 11th attacks in the United States, and the terrifying emergence of ISIS, making her prophecies a subject of global fascination and debate. Yet, among her many predictions, there is one that continues to stir unease: a chilling vision of fire falling from the sky during a time when the skies turn blood red. Now, as we approach October 2025, this particular prophecy is being revisited with renewed urgency. Number 2. October 2025. Why that month? Let's take a step into October 2025. Not just any ordinary month, but one that carries an echo from the ancient world. In old Slavic traditions, October was called the month of the red moon. This wasn't just a poetic title, it meant something deeper. It was the season of harvest and of endings, when the physical world began to decay and the spiritual world seemed closer. Mystics believed this was the time when the veil between our world and the unseen grew thin, when prophecies could rise like mist in the early dawn and strange messages from beyond could find their way to those willing to listen. Baba Vanga, the mysterious blind mystic, known for her eerie foresight, spoke of this kind of timely moment when the sky would open and fire would fall. She described it not with panic, but with a kind of grave certainty. Something powerful would shake the world, and many would be caught off guard. She never gave exact dates, but the symbolism around October, especially October 2025, makes many pause and wonder. Now think about this. Has something like this happened before? Let's rewind to 1908, to the Tunguska event in the deep Siberian wilderness. A massive explosion leveled 800 square miles of forest, yet no impact crater, no meteorite fragments, just scorched earth and shattered trees. Witnesses claimed the sky split apart and fire rained down. One man, sitting miles away, was thrown off his chair by the shockwave. Doesn't that sound hauntingly similar to Vanga's vision? Could she have seen something like this repeating, only with even more profound consequences? And if that's true, what should we do with that information, not to spread fear, but to awaken awareness? It's worth asking yourself, if a warning comes not with an exact date, but a pattern, how can we prepare not just physically, but spiritually? What lessons are we being asked to remember about our place in this vast and mysterious universe? Sometimes, stories like these aren't about the fire itself, but about the inner fire they ignite. They ask us to pay attention, to live more consciously, and to reconnect with the natural cycles around us. We often look up to the sky searching for answers, but sometimes the sky is asking us questions in return. What kind of life are we living? Are we prepared not just for external events, but for the unexpected that tests our inner strength? So what can we take from all this? The deeper message isn't about doom, it's about presence. Be aware of your surroundings. Respect the mystery of nature. Listen to the whispers of intuition. October, in the old world, was a time of reflection, of letting go, of facing what lies beyond the surface. In today's world, we can use it as a time to reset, to ground ourselves, and to open our hearts to the things that truly matter. Whether or not the sky splits open, the real fire that changes the world is the one we tend within. What kind of future are you shaping with your thoughts and actions today? Number 3. Scientific and celestial context. Let me tell you a story that stretches across the skies, between science, prophecy, and the quiet voice within us that sometimes says, something is coming. As we look ahead to October 2025, an unusual series of cosmic events has begun to stir both scientific curiosity and ancient warnings. NASA has flagged several near-Earth objects set to pass close enough to warrant attention, though they assure us there's no immediate danger. One of them, asteroid 2001 WN5, will pass within the Moon's distance from Earth. That's closer than many satellites orbiting above us. While officials calmly call these near-Earth objects, the blind mystic Baba Vanga, whose predictions have stirred global fascination, might have called them omens or harbingers. She once spoke of fire from the sky in a time of unrest. And now, with this alignment of the Sun, Mars and Mercury in a rare arc over our skies, just days after a powerful lunar eclipse, many are beginning to ask, is this what she foresaw? Now, think about that for a moment. Can you feel how everything seems to be aligning, not just the planets, but the timing of global events, growing tension in the world, and the invisible thread that connects all of it? In Buddhist thought, there is a saying, when the mind is pure, joy follows like a shadow that never leaves. But what happens when our collective mind is troubled, distracted, or fearful? Do we begin to see shadows where there are none, or are we finally noticing what's been lurking all along? These questions aren't just for scientists or prophets, they're for all of us, because as much as this is a story about the skies above, it's also a story about what's going on within each of us. In darker corners of the internet, those places where amateur skywatchers and former military insiders whisper anonymously, rumors are growing louder. Reports of unusual satellite movements, blackouts, and emergency drills, curiously scheduled for the first half of October 2025, are beginning to surface. Is this careful preparation or simply caution mistaken for conspiracy? The Buddha taught us to see clearly, to avoid extremes, and to seek truth not just through belief, but through awareness. 3 things cannot be long hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. So the question becomes, what truth are we on the edge of discovering? If you've ever felt like something was just around the corner, something bigger than the news, more ancient than technology, you're not alone. This is where science and spirituality meet, not to oppose one another, but to illuminate what we don't yet understand. Could these celestial events trigger earthly consequences? Are we being invited to awaken, to prepare, or perhaps just to pay attention? What do you think Baba Vanga meant when she spoke of fire from the sky? Was it a vision of falling stars, a great comet, or the burning consequences of our own actions on this earth? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's explore this mystery together, with open minds and calm hearts. And remember, not every warning is a curse sometimes. It's just a call to wake up. Still with us? That means you're ready to go deeper. Baba Vanga's warnings aren't just predictions, they're a wake-up call. Type "fire prophecy" in the comments to show you're prepared to understand what's truly coming. Keep watching. You won't want to miss the final insight that could shift your entire perspective. Number 4. What could fire from the sky mean? When Baba Vanga spoke of fire from the sky, many dismissed it as cryptic or even poetic. But as we edge closer to October 2025, this mysterious phrase has taken on new life, stirring curiosity and anxiety alike. To understand what she might have meant, we must consider several possibilities, both scientific and spiritual. One of the more literal interpretations points to an asteroid impactor cosmic event where a space rock blazes through Earth's atmosphere, igniting the sky in a flash of blinding light before hitting the ground, or exploding mid-air like the Chelyabinsk meteor in 2013. That explosion injured over 1,000 people and shattered windows across a Russian city, reminding us that Earth is still vulnerable to the vast and unpredictable forces of space. In modern life, where we rely so heavily on stability and control, such an event would shake our sense of security. It teaches us that despite all our progress, nature still holds the upper hand, and this awareness can inspire humility rather than fear. Then there's the sun itself, our life-giver, which also holds the power to disrupt our entire way of life. Solar flares, which are massive bursts of radiation from the sun's surface, have the capacity to knock out satellites, disrupt GPS and communication systems, and even fry power grids. A major solar event, like the Carrington event of 1859, would cause unprecedented chaos in today's tech-dependent society. Just imagine no internet, no phone, no banking systems for days or even weeks. And yet, within that vulnerability lies a spiritual reminder. Our deep over-reliance on digital comfort has distanced us from the simplicity of life. Baba Vanga's fire could be a metaphor for such a technological reckoning, a forced pause that compels us to reconnect with the earth, our neighbors, and the moment. Some interpret fire from the sky as man-made military strike or advanced weaponry that mimics a natural disaster. With rising global tensions, increased talk of space-based weapons, and shadowy reports of experimental technologies, the line between science fiction and reality is blurring. A high-altitude nuclear test or a directed energy weapon could create a visual spectacle that echoes the prophecy: a sky lit up with fire, not from nature, but from human hands. This possibility forces us to reflect deeply on our current path. As we invest in tools of destruction, are we also cultivating the wisdom and compassion to use our power responsibly? Here lies a critical teaching from the Buddhist path: right intention and right action must guide every decision, especially in matters of such scale. And then there is the most symbolic and perhaps hopeful interpretation: a fire not of destruction, but of awakening. What if Baba Vanga was referring to a collective shift in consciousness, a moment when humanity sees clearly for the first time in generations? This fire could be the burning away of ignorance, greed, and hatred, lighting the way for empathy, unity, and spiritual clarity. Just as a fire can clear a forest to allow new growth, such a global moment could cleanse us of illusions, forcing us to confront uncomfortable truths, but also paving the way for healing. In a world overwhelmed by distraction, conflict, and disconnection, this interpretation offers something profound, the possibility that even in chaos, a deeper truth can emerge to guide us. In preparing for what may come in October 2025, whether it is cosmic, technological, man-made, or spiritual, the best advice we can embrace is this: cultivate inner stability. In Buddhist wisdom, we are reminded that external conditions will always change, but the mind, when trained and centered, becomes a refuge. Whether the fire from the sky is literal or metaphorical, its impact depends not only on its nature, but also on our readiness to respond not with panic, but with clarity, compassion, and courage. And so, as we look to the skies, let us also turn inward, tending to the fires of wisdom and love within, so we are not only prepared for what may come, but capable of transforming it into a force for good. What are you doing today to strengthen your inner peace in a world that may be shifting tomorrow? Number 5. Ancient and cross cultural parallels. Throughout history, people across different cultures and continents have spoken of a powerful vision fire descending from the sky. These aren't just isolated myths or religious metaphors, but strikingly similar messages that show up in ancient texts and oral traditions from around the world. In the Bible, tales of fire from the heavens are linked to divine judgment and awakening. Hindu scriptures speak of celestial destruction during times of great imbalance, where cosmic fire cleanses the earth before renewal. The Mayan calendar, often misunderstood, hints at cycles of change where a fiery element marks the end of one era and the beginning of another. What's even more compelling is that these ancient patterns don't stop at religious texts. Native American elders have passed down stories of sky fire that comes not as punishment, but as a call to realign with nature and each other. Russian cosmonauts, scientists trained in reason, have shared strange encounters and dreams of flames above Earth. And from the mouth of a child in Chile came words that mirrored these powerful prophecies, visions of a fiery event yet to come. When we consider what Baba Vanga foresaw fire from the sky in October 2020, it's not simply fear-mongering, it resonates with a shared ancestral memory that spans generations and geography. Whether symbolic or literal, these messages may be calling us to pay closer attention to the way we live today. Are we out of balance with the earth? Are our actions collectively and individually causing unseen consequences that may one day erupt into plain view? In a world strained by climate change, conflict, and spiritual disconnection, these ancient warnings become more than legends. They become reminders that what we do matters. Number 6. Government silence and unusual patterns. In the months leading up to October 2025, a pattern of subtle but alarming governmental behavior has sparked concern among independent researchers and critical observers worldwide. Governments across different continents quietly ramped up budgets for emergency preparedness, initiated discreet stockpiling of medical supplies, and signed contracts with major space agencies. Yet the official reasons behind these actions remain vague, buried under layers of bureaucratic language. What unsettles many is the coordinated nature of these moves, especially given their timing, hinting at a shared but undisclosed understanding among global powers. The most chilling detail comes from a leaked internal document, reportedly obtained by a whistleblower from a European defense ministry, referencing something cryptically titled Psi Event 1025. This phrase, seemingly meaningless at first glance, has since disappeared from official servers, wiped clean without explanation. However, researchers quickly noticed the uncanny alignment between this mysterious code and the predicted celestial disturbance expected in October 2025, raising questions that no authority has yet answered. It's a stark reminder of how information can be hidden in plain sight and why we must remain vigilant and questioning in an age where silence often speaks louder than words. In our modern lives, where trust in institutions is both necessary and fragile, such patterns urge us to stay informed and connected to one another. Instead of falling into fear, we can choose to prepare ourselves calmly, emotionally, spiritually, and practically. Take this as an opportunity to reflect on what truly matters, nurture resilience in your own community, and remain grounded. After all, true stability begins not in governments, but in how we respond together with awareness, compassion, and unity. Thank you for being here with us today. If this video sparked your curiosity or left you wondering about what's ahead, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your impressions in the comments, or if you're new, just say, "I am a seeker." And if you've been with us for a while, drop, "I walk the path." Your voice helps shape this community, and your support means everything to us. Let's keep uncovering the mysteries together. Buddhist advice for a peaceful life. In the midst of prophecies, strange celestial events, and the instability of modern life, perhaps the most important question is not what might happen, but how are we choosing to live? This is where Buddhism offers a lighter path that brings us back to inner stillness, even when the outer world feels uncertain. Here are some core Buddhist teachings that can help nurture a peaceful life, whether the sky falls or it's just our hearts that feel shaken. Number 1. Keep the mind calm, even when the world changes. The Buddha taught, "Nothing lasts forever, not even suffering," reminding us that all things, both joy and hardship, are part of the ever-turning wheel of life. In today's world, we are surrounded by constant motion, global instability, economic shifts, personal responsibilities, and the unpredictable ups and downs of relationships and health. Life seems to be always asking more of us, and often it feels like there is no pause button. But amidst this chaos, the human mind holds a unique ability. It can be trained to remain still and clear, just like a lotus flower rising above muddy water. Just as the lotus doesn't resist the mud but grows through it, we too can find peace without needing the world to be perfect. This is why even a small daily practice, 5 or 10 minutes of sitting in silence and gently returning to our breath, can become an anchor in the storm. Meditation is not an escape. It is a way to return to what is real and steady within us. Thich Nhat Hanh once said, "Feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor." And in our modern lives, where we often begin the day by checking our phones and ending it in exhaustion, taking just a few minutes to pause, close the eyes, and notice the breath can soften the edges of stress and help us respond with more patience and clarity. This doesn't mean we won't face change or difficulty. Change is not only inevitable, it's part of the very fabric of life. But when we understand deeply that nothing is fixed, not the troubles we face, not even our own thoughts or mood sway, begin to loosen our grip on control and develop inner strength. Picture a bamboo in the wind. Its strength lies not in resisting the wind, but in bending with it. In this way, we don't fight the reality of life, we flow with it. A calm mind doesn't mean indifference. It means we can see clearly and act wisely. In moments of anger, fear, or overwhelm, returning to a calm breath can remind us that we are more than our reactions. As the Dhammapada says, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." So, if we fill our minds with fear, chaos grows within us. But if we nurture calmness, compassion, and understanding, we carry peace wherever we go. This is especially important as we age and take on more responsibilities, caring for families, navigating careers, facing loss, or reflecting on our purpose. Life's outer noise may not quiet down, but we can make space within ourselves that no storm can shake. That is the gift of practice. It gives us back our own presence. And in a society that often values speed and productivity above well-being, choosing to cultivate a calm mind is an act of deep wisdom and self-care. So each morning, before the world rushes in, take a few quiet moments, sit, breathe, smile gently to yourself, and know that this simple act is a step toward peace, not only for yourself, but for everyone you touch. As the Buddha said, "Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace. Let that word come from within you." Number 2, do good, avoid harm, sow seeds of peace. One of the most foundational and enduring teachings of the Buddha can be summed up in a few simple yet powerful lines. Do no harm, do good, purify the mind. This is the teaching of all Buddhas. Though it may sound straightforward, within these few words lies a lifetime of practice, self-awareness, and transformation. In our daily lives, we often get caught up in the rush of tasks, obligations, and even the noise of the world around us, so much so that we forget the quiet power of choosing kindness over harm, compassion over indifference, and mindfulness over reactivity. When the Buddha spoke of not doing harm, he wasn't only referring to physical violence. He was pointing to something more subtle but just as significant to our words, our thoughts, and even our intentions. Think of how one harsh word, said in a moment of anger, can stay with someone for years. But in the same way, one kind gesture or sincere compliment can uplift a heart and shift the course of someone's day. There's a Zen story that illustrates this beautifully. A monk once asked a revered teacher, "What is the essence of the Buddha's teachings?" The teacher replied, "Avoid evil, do good, and purify your mind." The monk, perhaps hoping for something more profound or complicated, said, "But even a child could understand that." The teacher smiled gently and said, "Yes, but even an old man can struggle to practice it." This story reminds us that wisdom is not always hidden in complexity often. It is in the simple things we find the greatest depth. It's easy to understand what is right and wrong, but the real work lies in doing what is right, even when it's difficult or inconvenient. Choosing not to gossip when others are doing so, staying calm when provoked, helping a stranger even when you're busy, these are small seeds of peace that we plant through our actions. Every good deed, no matter how small, creates a ripple. It may not seem like much at the time, but just like water dripping on stone over years, consistent acts of goodness can slowly soften even the hardest places. We often wonder what we can do to make the world a better place, especially when faced with so much suffering and conflict. The Buddha's answer is practical and timeless. Begin with yourself. Begin by refraining from harm, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally as well. Begin by helping others in the ways that you can, without expecting anything in return, and begin by calming your mind, observing your thoughts, and slowly letting go of fear, anger, and greed. These 3 steps, doing no harm, doing good, and purifying the mind, are not separate paths but one harmonious way of life. What would your day look like if you carried this teaching into every interaction, if every choice was guided by kindness and wisdom? This question isn't meant to make us feel guilty about the times we fall short, but to inspire us to keep trying again and again. That's the beauty of the path. It's not about perfection, but about intention and sincerity. In Buddhism, effort itself is a virtue. So even when you make mistakes, each time you return to the path with honesty and care, you are growing. To live a peaceful life, we don't need to wait for perfect conditions. We can start now, right where we are. Be the person who listens without judgment. Be the one who speaks gently when tempers flare. Be someone who offers their presence fully, without distraction. As Thich Nhat Hanh once said, Peace is every step. That means peace isn't only a distant goal, but something we create moment by moment, breath by breath. So ask yourself today, what seeds am I planting with my actions, words, and thoughts? Are they seeds of peace or seeds of conflict? When you become more mindful of this, your whole life begins to shift, not dramatically at first, but steadily and meaningfully. You start noticing where you can bring more light, even in difficult situations. You learn to pause before reacting, to listen before judging, and to give before expecting. The message today is this: peace begins with the smallest of choices. Choose not to harm, choose to do good, choose to care for your mind. In time, these choices become your character, your way of being, and your gift to the world. Number 3. See clearly. Don't rush to believe or fear. Let's take a moment together to reflect on something deeply important for living a peaceful life: seeing clearly and not rushing to believe or fear. So often, we're surrounded by noise and news headlines, social media panic, stories passed down without question, and it's easy to get swept up in what others say is true. But the Buddha offered us a gentle yet powerful reminder. Do not believe in anything simply because you have heard it. Do not believe in traditions because they have been handed down for many generations. But after observation and analysis, when you find that something agrees with reason and is conducive to the good and benefit of all, then accept it and live up to it. These words aren't just ancient advice, they're timeless wisdom, and they still guide us today. What does that really mean for us in our daily lives? It means you have the right and the responsibility to pause before reacting. You don't need to believe something just because someone said it with confidence or because it's written somewhere with authority. Your peace of mind is too valuable to be given away to fear or blind faith. Whether it's a frightening prediction, a viral message, or even a spiritual claim, ask yourself, does this bring more clarity and kindness into my life? Does it help me feel more connected, more awake, more compassionate? If not, maybe it's not something you need to carry. The path of wisdom isn't about ignoring the world, but about seeing it with calm and open eyes. Fear has a sneaky way of disguising itself as truth, but when we slow down, take a breath, and look deeply, we begin to see what's real and what's just passing clouds. Remember, the Buddha didn't ask us to follow him blindly. He invited us to explore, to question, and to understand from our own hearts. That's incredibly empowering because it means your insight matters. Your clarity matters. So next time you hear something that shakes you or confuses you, try asking, is this helping me grow in compassion? Is this teaching me to be more present, more kind, more at peace? If the answer is no, you're allowed to let it go. You're allowed to trust yourself. And isn't that a beautiful kind of freedom? If you've made it this far, you're already taking the first steps toward a more peaceful and mindful life. Comment below with "peaceful path" to affirm your commitment to inner calm and clarity. Stay with us until the end. There's still so much timeless wisdom ahead that can bring balance, joy, and serenity to your everyday journey. Number 4. Live mindfully. Every day is a miracle. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to fall into the habit of rushing through our days, checking off tasks, juggling responsibilities, and planning for a future that always seems just a step away. But Buddhist wisdom reminds us that true peace doesn't lie in the certainty of tomorrow or in the completion of our to-do lists. It lives in the present moment. When we learn to live mindfully, we begin to understand that every ordinary moment holds extraordinary potential. Drinking a glass of water, walking down the street, or sharing a conversation with someone dear, these become sacred when we give them our full attention. Mindfulness is not a grand gesture or a spiritual luxury reserved for monasteries. It's a way of being that is available to all of us, right here and now. It begins with a simple yet powerful shift. choosing to be fully present with whatever we are doing, without rushing to the next thing. For example, when you're eating your meal, instead of watching television or scrolling through your phone, try tasting each bite. Feel the warmth of the food, notice the flavors, and be grateful for the nourishment it gives your body. This small practice transforms eating from a routine into a moment of joy and connection. Similarly, when talking to a loved one, put aside distractions truly, listen, make eye contact, and let your heart be open. When you give someone your full attention, you offer them respect, love, and presence, which are the building blocks of deep relationships. And this kind of mindful presence not only brings more harmony to our relationships, but also calms the restless mind that so often causes stress and anxiety. Living mindfully also means being aware of your breath, your posture, and your emotions as they arise. The breath, in particular, is a powerful anchor to the present. No matter where we are or what we're doing, the breath is always with us. When you feel overwhelmed, try pausing to take a few deep, conscious breaths. In doing so, you create a space between the stimulus and your response. That space, however small, is where peace begins. It gives you a chance to reset, to soften your reactions, and to respond with wisdom rather than impulse. In this way, mindfulness becomes your inner refuge in the chaos of modern life, a steady presence that keeps you grounded no matter what is happening around you. Many people believe they don't have time for mindfulness because life is so busy. But mindfulness doesn't ask you to stop living, it asks you to live with awareness. Whether you're washing dishes, commuting to work, or folding laundry, these everyday activities can become a kind of meditation if approached with a calm and open mind. Rather than seeing them as chores to get through, view them as chances to come home to yourself, to breathe, and to slow down. As we age, especially in the 30 to 65 age range, our lives often become more complex with careers, families, and health concerns, all demanding our attention. This is exactly why mindfulness matters even more. It helps us reconnect with what truly matters, so we don't lose ourselves in the noise. In Buddhist teaching, every moment is a miracle not because it is dramatic or spectacular, but because it is alive. The sound of the birds, the warmth of sunlight, the laughter of children, the silence after a long day, these are all small gifts, and mindfulness is what allows us to unwrap them. When we live mindfully, we don't take life for granted. We begin to cherish the now, understanding that this moment, right here, is the only one guaranteed. So let's not wait for peace to come in the future. Let's practice presence in our daily life, meeting each task and each interaction with the fullness of our attention. In doing so, we discover that peace isn't something we chase, it's something we choose, one mindful breath at a time. Number 5. Practice contentment. Let go and lighten up. In uncertain times, it's natural for our minds to search for control. We want to predict what's coming, hold on tightly to what we have, and resist anything that feels out of place. But the Buddha offered us a much gentler and wiser way to live. He said, "The one who knows they have enough is truly rich." This simple truth invites us to look around and reflect, do we really lack as much as we think, or have we simply forgotten how to see the value in the ordinary? When we start to appreciate the little things, a warm meal at the end of the day, the presence of someone who cares for us, a moment of silence after a noisy day, we begin to understand that peace doesn't come from having more, but from needing less. Contentment isn't about giving up or settling. It's about realizing that chasing endlessly for more only creates stress, while gratitude brings a deep inner calm. Think for a moment. How would your life change if you stopped comparing it to others or worrying about what's next, and instead cherished what's here now? Often, we're so busy grasping for tomorrow that we overlook today's blessings. This doesn't mean we shouldn't have goals or dreams, but that our happiness shouldn't be postponed until everything is perfect. Life rarely is. What if real freedom is learning to let go of responsibility, but of the constant pressure to always have more? This lightness is a kind of liberation. So, ask yourself, what am I holding on to that's making my heart heavy? Could I loosen my grip even a little? The path to peace is not in getting everything we want, but in seeing clearly what we already have. In this way, contentment becomes a powerful practice, not passive but deeply active. It's a conscious choice to shift from craving to appreciation. Today's message is this: when you stop needing more to be happy, you discover you already have enough to be at peace. The richest life is one filled with gratitude, not possessions. Number 6. Take refuge in the mind, not in the outside world. Let me ask you something. Have you ever found yourself chasing comfort in the world around you, hoping that if things could just settle down, then you'd finally feel at peace? Maybe you've looked to people, money, recognition, or even social systems to bring you a sense of security. It's such a natural instinct. We all want to feel safe, grounded, and understood. But what happens when those external things change, when relationships shift, jobs disappear, or the world feels uncertain and out of control? The Buddha offered us a powerful reminder when he said, "Be a lamp unto yourself." And those words aren't just poetic, they're practical, and they cut to the heart of how we can live more peacefully in a chaotic world. What he was really saying is this: stop depending entirely on the outside world for your sense of peace and direction. Real refugeth, the kind that lasts, comes from within your own mind, your own heart. Now, that doesn't mean we ignore the world or shut ourselves off. It simply means we turn inward first. When we stop running from our thoughts and emotions and instead learn to gently observe them, we start to discover an inner space that isn't easily shaken. This space, this calm center within you, is always there. It's not about escaping life, but facing it with a grounded, open heart. Taking refuge in your mind means learning to trust your own awareness, your own ability to see things clearly without being swept away by every wave. How different would your day feel if you paused more often to come home to yourself, instead of being pulled in every direction by the noise of the world? Think about the people or systems we sometimes lean on for security: governments, leaders, even loved ones. They can offer support, yes, but they're not permanent. They rise and fall like the tide. The mind, when cultivated through mindfulness, compassion, and understanding, becomes your true refuge. No one can give you lasting peace unless you first find it within yourself. This is why Buddhist practice often starts with looking deeply into your own thoughts, not to judge them, but to understand them. To befriend your own mind is to begin building a refuge that no storm can reach. So here's something you might want to reflect on. Where do you usually seek comfort when life gets tough? And what might change if you slowly began turning that search inward toward your own awareness, your own breath, your own ability to be present? For me, learning to trust this inner lamp has changed everything. It doesn't mean I'm never afraid or never confused, but it means I no longer feel lost, even when the world outside is uncertain. That, to me, is the beginning of real peace. How about you? And so, as we reflect on Baba Vanga's chilling vision of fire from the sky and the many signs, both ancient and modern, pointing to October 2025, remember this: the future is not only something we await, but something we shape with every thought, every action, and every moment of awareness. Whether the skies bring change or simply remind us of the fragility of life, our truest strength lies in how we respond with clarity, compassion, and courage. Let us not fall into fear, but rise into presence. If this journey has inspired you to think more deeply, to question more gently, and to live more consciously, then let's continue walking this path together. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to The Journey of Wisdom. And be sure to turn on notifications so you won't miss what's coming next, because together we'll explore not just what might happen in the world, but how we can stay grounded within it. Until next time, take a breath, stay aware, and keep walking the journey of wisdom.